Alright y'all, what's good? Today we got something different. We're not gonna do memes. We got TeriZoo or claws overrated. Now I'm pretty sure y'all don't know this, but I'm subscribed to TeriZoo. I watch his channel. Like, I've been watching him since I didn't even know Dante watched him like that because I forgot. You know, I'm not in the streams, so I don't know that he be watching this sometimes. I know he made like a couple of videos watching TeriZoo, maybe like 4 or 5, and I watched them, but you know, I could have reacted to this by myself, but I mean Dante reacted to it, so might as well watch it with him. All right, let's get into it.
Our claws OP, and that is the easiest. Yes, chat.
I mean, if you're talking about, because they had different type of claws. If you're talking about like in general, if like someone has claws and someone doesn't, then yeah, the person or the animal with the claws is gonna win. You know, it's like somebody with a knife versus somebody with no knife. You know.
What are y'all answers? But for me, that is the easiest yes I could ever yes. Like, what the fuck?
By the way, I'm sorry. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm always wearing this hoodie, it's not because I wear it on purpose. I'm wearing it because I didn't pick my hair. I mean, you know.
That is the easiest yes ever. Climbing, killing, grabbing.
Dang, he got it. He got. Oh my God, no! He got.
Oh
he's
my
gone.
God.
Are you okay?
He's gone. He's gone.
Yes, sir.
When speccing your character, it's important to choose equipment that integrates well with your chosen build's combat style and minimizes its inherent
Microphone. I'm just making sure my mic working, y'all.
vulnerabilities. Weapons like horns and fangs are capable of inflicting massive damage, but using them in battle can leave a player vulnerable to counterattacks, and their value is mostly limited to 1v1 situations. Balancing the risk.
Question. Yes. Yo, I actually watched a video analysis on Amber Heard, and
oh my God,
it exposed what she looked like when she really sad. If you look at her at the end of that case when they was,
I watch it, and you can tell that she was acting the whole way until the end of the case, and it showed her like a real emotion came out. Oh, that was, I'm not gonna say it was satisfying, but you know, like it was, you know,
was reading that shit out. That was her really sad. Head down. Just, she was either sad or pissed off, one of the two. Head down, just breathing heavy like, fuck. I just lost everything. It's over.
It's over.
And then they compared it to her fake sadness, and she was like,
right.
I'm a survivor.
How'd she do that? I can't even do it, bro, because I'm smiling.
That the rug was so dirty. I was like, how could it get so dirty? My dog stepped on a bee. It's like, sis.
Everybody.
I mean, I see why you lost.
Everybody.
They even had somebody that was on the jury came out. Obviously, they didn't want to show their face or nothing. But they was like, yeah, man, I was on the jury, and I ain't gonna lie, man, when she kept looking at us, it was kind of weird, man. I literally had to look away from her whenever she was looking at us because it was getting uncomfortable. Because it was that type of thing where when someone's looking at you and they're talking, but you can't say nothing back, and they just keep looking at you and talking, it's just, I mean, that would be awkward for me.
Yeah. That's why I don't.
God damn.
That's why when I talk, I just don't stare into the camera. Like, eye contact is weird.
Amber, what was you thinking, sis? You tried though. You was almost there.
She tried.
I heard they took her completely out of the new Aquaman movie.
Dang, man.
But I wasn't gonna watch it. I wasn't gonna watch it anyway. Shout out to Aquaman though.
I like Aquaman.
And damage potential of launching an attack is a key strategic consideration when equipping any type of weapon. So today we'll discuss one that comes as a standard feature on many of the most viable builds in the game: claws.
Severely
claws
broken.
Are versatile, close-range weapons that can be used for offense or defense without sacrificing much in terms of mobility. They do require the user to get somewhat close to an enemy to launch an attack.
Get over
I seen I think it was a tiger or a cheetah
They said after the case,
Right.
and her lawyer,
Cheetahs.
all women lost today and won't feel safe.
Yeah,
Well,
she said
No, he's right. Lions, cheetahs, and they use their claws to make them move faster. It's like traction on a car. Like instead of running fast and like you slip and slide, you know, you could use your claws to grip the ground and, you know, traction, you know.
there was another analysis on her fucking lawyer where she said that like 3 times in one interview.
Her lawyer gave up.
It was a lion chased a gazelle and literally just with the 2 tips of its claws stopped the nigga in his tracks. Stopped it in his tracks like these shits are broken.
But due to the low end lag on most standard slashing and swiping claw strikes, these tend to be one of the safest attack options a player has access to. Unlike some other weapons, claws can usually be regenerated if damaged,
That's crazy.
allowing them to be
Big,
used freely
meaty
with minimal
claws.
risk. Claws can be used against multiple enemies at once if the build has decent mobility,
Damn.
making them an excellent choice for generalists and tanks alike. They can also be specialized into a variety of secondary perks that allow the user to climb, dig, or run at extreme speeds without slipping.
Perks.
Claws can be optimized for piercing, slashing, or crushing damage depending on which basic type you spec into. While some members of the arthropod faction have tiny hooked claws,
These things are so like what the fuck
Right,
are these,
bro.
man? I keep seeing new bugs every fucking video I
I've never
watch.
seen this bug
that are
before.
used for the mobility perks alone, others equip pincher-type claws, called Keelay, that can inflict massive crushing damage. The size of Keelay relative to the user's body varies between build classes, but they can be used in combat even on the smaller end due to the additional perk of being able to immobilize opponents. Crustacean builds like crabs and lobsters can use claws to crush or dismember prey,
Dang.
a devastating attack
What's up?
if it
He
connects,
is dead.
though it can be fairly
Yo.
easily dodged by a more mobile player.
That's a big. What kind of crab was that? I ain't never seen that before. That thing is big. Like I'm talking about, it could probably break my finger if I point at it. It's gonna grab my finger and crush it.
Appreciate you, man.
Scorpions can use their claws to inflict knockback, or as a physical barrier to keep an enemy away from their vitals. But they also enable them to use an extremely powerful grappling combination move. While an enemy is immobilized in their claws, scorpions use their flexible stingers to inflict massive piercing
I mean, as a little fly, whatever the hell you were, why are you
You're-
walking towards a
right.
scorpion that
You're
size?
done.
and venom damage.
You're done.
This attack is more effective than crushing alone, but the trade-off between physical power and venom potency means that some scorpions are still weak against builds that can deflect or withstand their stings.
Also,
Yeah,
just
true.
because like I was already thinking about it. Amber's lawyer literally tried to come at that dude for his 15, like calling him, this is your chance for your 15 minutes of fame. But
What?
then went and did a fucking interview on national TV afterwards. I just thought that was funny as fuck.
Instead,
Meanwhile, the people who actually won want to stay discreet and out the way.
Right.
I'm just saying,
Right.
shit's crazy to me, man.
Hispanic son, you left me in the dumpster.
L
but I
lawyer,
came
bro.
back, it's all good, bad,
Literally
full
L
switch.
lawyer.
Jesus.
Instead of modifying entire limbs into crushing pinchers, many tetrapod builds can equip individual claws to each digit and then use them to inflict piercing or slashing damage. Reptile and mammal builds that spec into claws
What is that?
usually equip them to all 4 limbs, using them for combat as well as their broad array of secondary functions. Tetrapod builds in earlier expansions experimented with a variety of claw specializations, with Therizinosaurus
them.
dumping the most
Ew, after watching Prehistoric, this shit is ass.
evolution points into the trade of
I
any
ain't gonna
build
lie.
in history.
Yeah, that's a big difference in CGI, bro. Cause they got the new CGI. This is like old. It's probably like from 2012 or something.
These giant curved claws were primarily used to hook and pull vegetation in order to access the best loot, but they served the secondary function of being used to attack or intimidate predators in a similar strategy to that of anteaters in the current meta. Megatherium
That
is
nigga's
another example of a build
huge.
that went all in on
graphics.
claws, but theirs were specialized to withstand the impacts of intense digging, and thus were much more powerful in combat as a result.
Dang.
Although
I miss
Megatherium were
Elden Ring,
large enough
bruh.
to repel most enemies using intimidation alone, succeeding in a meta where Smilodon were the apex predators meant that their claws needed to be ready for serious action when necessary. While Thenocerosaurus and Megatherium are no longer playable builds, the basic tetrapod claw specializations that they pioneered are still influential in today's meta. While some mammal variants spec into nails or hooves instead, claws are still an extremely common limb equipment choice and are used for everything from climbing and foraging to attacking enemies.
Yep.
Digging is a common specialization for mammal players, with builds like the armadillo and anteater leveraging their claws to access hard-to-reach resources.
Humans have whack like claws. Like imagine, like we got nails. That's so trash. Like we can't do nothing with this. It's so garbage. Like imagine if humans had claws. Like imagine if we had like claws, like tiger claws, but on our hands, bro. Like, bro. I think it would be better, to be honest.
Sources. At the extreme end of this ability, moles use their long, thick claws and sensory modifications to complete their entire playthroughs in subterranean maps, where they can farm out invertebrate players for XP.
I don't like moles.
Other mammal builds spec into lighter claws to preserve dexterity and use them more in a generalist fashion.
Yo, that nigga look like Albert Einstein.
They can only inflict minor scratch damage in combat situations. The cloven
Yo, are wax museums, is that supposed to represent their actual size as well?
hooves of even-toed ungulate builds like pigs and deer.
'Cause I ain't gonna lie.
What?
That nigga Martin Luther King short as a bitch.
Technically are claws as well, which add cutting edges to already powerful limbs and increase the damage inflicted by kicks. Mammals in the Carnivora faction all have claws, but only some are fully dependent on them to take down enemies. Felids have extremely sharp claws that retract when not in use, conserving their durability and allowing them to move silently when preparing to ambush an opponent. These claws provide additional traction and therefore movement speed when extended, but more importantly,
like I said, traction, bro. It makes them move faster, and they can like turn sharper, you know.
They greatly increase both the damage and grappling capability of these felids.
See, look at the
grappling can be used in a deadly combination where claws
just for educational purposes.
You just can't get away,
so the user can safely inflict lethal bite damage.
Goddamn!
They're also remarkably effective for climbing, which opens up access to areas of the map that other carnivore builds can't reach. With some of the best speed and power stats in the game, felids are absolute killing machines that use claws to decimate bird and mammal player bases. For builds which
imagine running. That's hacks, bro. Imagine running for your life and somebody just hook you with like a big knife. Like they have one of them hooks like Candyman, and you're running and he just hook you, bro. You can't do nothing. You're done. That's like hacks. You can't do nothing.
Lack the ability to retract their claws, the repeated contact with the ground causes them to become dull and less useful for climbing or combat, but they do still provide solid mobility bonuses. Since bird forelimbs are modified into wings, most avian builds can only equip functional claws to their feet.
Oh, dang!
Yo, did y'all see the video of some idiot that put his...
They baited him. You saw that? They baited him, and when he tried to get it, they grabbed his face. Dang, you're done.
Finger in a tiger or in a lion cage, and the lion got a grip of his finger and ripped it off and you see the tendon as well. I was like, oh my god, you're fucking stupid.
Why would you do that?
Why
you're
would
so
you do that
stupid.
shit?
Have the unique ability to equip claws to their forelimbs that are used for climbing, but this ability is shed at higher levels in favor of flight, and all other birds are restricted to hind limb claws only.
That's nasty.
While this may seem like a limitation, members of the raptor faction use their claws and wings in conjunction to carry out some of the deadliest ambush attacks in the game. Their absolutely busted sensory abilities and mobility stats allow them to attack before an opponent can even detect their presence, impaling them with sharp talons before they have time to react and counterattack. However, raptor legs are relatively short and their wings can't deal much damage in their own right, which limits their ability to counterattack when an enemy launches an attack on the ground or from behind. In a major departure from the typical avian playstyle, some birds dump evolution points into their legs and feet at the expense of their flight ability. This strategy hinges...
You know what, I'm about to pause and do this. You know, that's so scary, bro. Like, that is scary. Imagine. Like, I don't really have nothing to say. Just imagine that chasing you, bro. That's terrifying.
Hinges on having a high enough run speed to evade most enemies, and enough power in their legs to disembowel enemies with dagger-like claws when challenged. Both types of avian builds can be viable against certain opponents, but their inability to inflict much damage with their wings leaves them vulnerable to rush
Best
down
flight?
and more powerful builds, and
Bruh,
underscores the
leave flight
benefits
alone.
of having claws equipped
That's
to
a
all
snake.
4 limbs. Claws are an excellent weapon choice for players with the flexibility and limb lengths needed to maximize their threat
That's
range.
flight,
But
bro.
even on less mobile builds,
Not-
they're still
not
well worth the
flight.
investment. These versatile weapons are at their best when they're used either as a safe, non-committal attack to chip away at an opponent,
Can I take a falcon in a 1v1? Why would I even try that?
or as part of a grappling combination move that anchors an opponent in place
Kinda question.
while additional damage is inflicted by either teeth or stingers. As the top tier claw users,
You're a whole
Felix
mammoth. Like, use your trunk or something,
are
man.
definitely OP, as they have pretty
You
much
can't.
the perfect setup to maximize the utility of their highly specialized claws. So don't expect to immediately skyrocket up the tier list the moment you spec into the claws trait, as the Feelig class may be a bit of an outlier. However, claws are still a valuable addition to
What?
almost any build that can equip them, and
No.
cost very little in terms of evolution points considering how many new
No.
options and strategies they can add to a character. On the subject of claws, you may have noticed that I didn't discuss one of the game's most famous claws in this video.
Yeah.
On that note, I have a bit of an announcement. I've been secretly working on something big, my own 3D animation studio. I want to make one of the best educational wildlife shows ever, and finally answer the types of questions that I constantly get asked. Who would win in a fight between...
Oh!
Well, I mean, take your pick.
I would
So
watch
far,
it.
I've been limited in what I've been able to
I
show
would,
on this
I
channel, since many animals never meet, and are separated by either distance or time. Through the magic of 3D animation, I want to bring these confrontations to life for all of you to witness. The first episode will pit one of history's most lethal claws against one of prehistory's most deadly fangs. I've been working super hard, and although the
that's
first
fire.
episode isn't quite ready, it'll be premiering on Nebula soon,
That's
and I
fire.
don't want you to miss it. Many of you know by now that TeriZoo has been a longtime partner of Nebula, a creator-owned
Oh!
streaming service whose mission is to empower creators to make
And
high-budget content.
I really
I think the claws is gonna win though, between the fangs and claws, because you have to get him with your head. You have to bite him, and he has so much more movement with his like legs. You're done. Like, he's gonna claw you in your stomach if you try to grab him with your fangs. You're done.
hope he can do
otherwise.
it. I really
Well,
hope he can
I'm
do
no
it.
exception, and I'm really shooting for the moon here. So please, check out the sponsor of today's video, the Nebula Curiosity Stream Bundle. Curiosity Stream has thousands of amazing non-fiction titles on there already for you to check out while I put the final touches on this show, including personal favorites of mine, like Out of the Cradle and Amazing Dino World. And on the Nebula side of things, Real Life
Oh,
Lore's
that's
Modern
bad.
Conflict series,
I can do the voice acting for the Velociraptors, man.
Timmy, what is it? It's a velociraptor.
No, Dante. Did he call his homie? Alright, y'all, so that was TeriZoo. That's the first time I ever did TeriZoo on the channel, especially watching somebody watch it. But yeah, if you you know, like this reaction, like TeriZoo, like, share, and subscribe, and I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Peace.